Welcome back to this episode of Grind and Grades. If you're a student athlete, or maybe you know one, aiming for college sports, you hear a lot about goals. Usually it's all about performance, right? Scoring that first big goal, hitting a certain time, getting that win for the team.
But the research we've dug into today, focusing specifically on the NCAA eligibility path, kind of throws a flag on that whole idea. It really does. The sources argue that the real first goal has nothing to do with the scoreboard at all.
Yeah, it's interesting how we often mix up the flashy result, the scholarship, the championship, with the necessary groundwork, the stuff you need just to be allowed to compete.
Right, the boring stuff sometimes.
Exactly. So this episode of Grind and Grades, think of it as your shortcut. We want to cut through all that noise and help you understand those foundational eligibility steps and, critically, why academic planning needs to kick off years before you even think about emailing a coach. That's the mission today.
What do the sources say is really essential? We're talking about a mindset shift here. The sources basically define that real first goal as taking the very first intentional, measurable step towards actually becoming recruitable. It's about getting ready, not just performing. It's about direction first.
Let's really nail down that core definition right away. When we talk first collegiate goal, the material defines it as the first measurable step you take toward NCAA readiness. And that readiness breaks down into three key areas: academic, athletic, and mental readiness.
You know, when I first read that, I have to admit it felt a bit backwards. Like, wait a second. Setting up a meeting with my school counselor to double-check a course code, that's a bigger goal right now than hitting the gym harder? Why does that admin stuff rank higher?
Because it's the one area where raw talent just can't bail you out if you mess it up. This prep phase moves the whole process from wishful thinking into actual concrete actions, things you can track. The research really stresses this. Picking the right core courses, making sure your high school's courses are even approved, and building habits that show you're reliable and dependable.
Exactly. And if you look at the timeline, the urgency becomes pretty clear. The sources hammer this home. Setting these measurable academic goals should ideally start in grade 9 or 10.
Grade 9?
Yeah, because if you wait until grade 11 or 12, you've already seriously limited your options, or worse, missed required courses that you can't easily fix. The second you walk into high school, that clock is ticking.
Right. We need to know those first steps. It sounds like the absolute priority is eligibility first, everything else second.
That's it. We forget sometimes, don't we? The consequence is huge. You just can't play. If you're not eligible, period. That's why the research is so firm. Academics have to come first. NCAA coaches aren't just looking for strong athletes. They want people who are reliable, organized, and can follow rules in the classroom, too. It's the absolute gatekeeper.
For NCAA Division I, the baseline is a minimum 2.3 core course GPA.
Okay, 2.3. But that GPA is calculated only from those specific 16 core courses the NCAA approves for your high school. Your overall average might be great, but if your core course GPA dips below 2.3, you're ineligible. Doesn't matter how good your other grades are.
That distinction, overall GPA versus core course GPA, that's huge. People must get tripped up on that all the time.
They do. But just hitting that 2.3 minimum isn't the full picture either. There's something called the NCAA sliding scale. That 2.3 GPA works in correlation with your standardized test score, your SAT or ACT, if your college requires them.
Wait, so athletes still need to take the SAT or ACT?
Not always. The NCAA stopped making those tests mandatory a few years ago, but some schools still ask for them. Certain universities use test scores for admission or scholarships, even if the NCAA doesn't require them for eligibility. So while you can qualify without them, it's smart to check what each school and scholarship program expects. If your target school asks for a test score, that sliding scale kicks in. Higher GPA, lower score needed. Lower GPA, higher score needed. It's like a balance. Strong academics give you flexibility and a safety net.
That makes total sense. Better grades open more doors, lower grades close them. Okay, let's imagine a grade 10 student. They just realized they took consumer math last year. It counts for their diploma, but not as an NCAA core course. What's the fix?
The immediate fix is all about verification. You have to check every single class, every core one. A common pitfall is course names. Sometimes a course sounds right, like Advanced Senior English, but if the specific course code hasn't been verified by the NCAA, it won't count toward your 16. You might have wasted a precious slot.
Wow, that's high stakes for just an administrative check. So what are the specific action items to avoid that?
These are the must-dos for tracking your progress. Think of your transcript like your NCAA credit report. Check it often. Stay above that 2.3 GPA using verified classes. Keep a copy of your transcript every semester and match every potential course against your school's approved NCAA list. And don't wait until senior year. Ask your counselor to send transcripts to the Eligibility Center early, ideally by the end of junior year.
Right. Register early, send grades, avoid that last-minute panic. Each small step shows responsibility.
Exactly. Now, the sources also call out Canadian athletes, noting there are extra steps because of provincial systems. The NCAA structure is based on the U.S. K-12 model, but provinces differ in course names and grade levels. The biggest issue is verifying that your provincial courses, especially AP or IB ones, match NCAA criteria.
So if verification is the challenge, the shortcut must be using the right tools, which can be found at Collegiate Goals.
Absolutely. You don't have to guess if Biology 11 counts or try to calculate your core GPA by hand. There are specific tools to help you. Think of them as your personal admin assistant. They can save you hours of frustration.
Let's talk about the first one, the NCAA Core Course Tracker. Why is this basically mandatory for every grade 9 student athlete?
Because it lets you search your specific high school, see the exact list of approved courses, and confirm what counts. If your math class isn't on that list, it doesn't count, no matter what your province calls it. Pair that with the core course GPA calculator, where you can plug in grades and instantly see your eligibility standing.
That's powerful. It turns eligibility from a guessing game into a plan. The sources also mention using the NCAA School Finder early. Why look at schools before you're being recruited?
Because it shows maturity and realism. It means you're targeting schools that fit both athletically and academically. Coaches notice that kind of preparation. Then there's the NCAA Ready checklist. It ties all these tools together so you can follow every step.
So once academics are verified and calculated, the first goal shifts to exposure, getting noticed. But just blasting out hundreds of emails is a waste. It has to be targeted and intentional.
Exactly. The measurable step becomes that first intentional contact with a coach. At a realistic school, coaches care if you can play, but they also care that you meet their academic bar. A 2.8 GPA student emailing a 3.5 average school wastes everyone's time. Targeted emails show awareness and respect.
And when you do reach out, keep it short and professional. Include your highlight video, your GPA, graduation year, and contact info. Coaches should be able to assess you in under 60 seconds.
Right. And tools like the AI Coach email prompt generator can help structure that first message. It's not about faking it. It's about overcoming that hesitation and making a solid first impression.
All these small details, verified courses, calculated GPA, professional emails, signal maturity. They show you're prepared. And coaches want that.
Desperately. They're recruiting people they can trust for 4 years. If you can't manage your academic checklist by grade 11, how will you manage both academics and athletics?
So, wrapping it up, what's the core message of this episode of Grind and Grades? The real first collegiate goal is building that foundation, doing the essential classroom work first. Grades open doors that talent alone cannot. The best coach in the world could want you. But if your GPA falls short, that opportunity disappears instantly.
Game over before it starts. That's why starting in grade 9 or 10 matters so much. The eligibility clock starts earlier than most think.
We'll leave you with this. What specific academic step can you commit to this week? Maybe it's checking your core course tracker or meeting your counselor. Take that first measurable step. Start today.
And that's this episode of Grinding Grades. Check out all the